pursuit in life. But one of the things I found, because I wanted to write this book in a way that coincided with what I was actually dealing with in life, and wanted to take the reader on a journey of the awareness of an existential crisis, the descent into the bubbling of where this crisis manifests itself in the darkness of the mind, and then how to eventually come through that and ascend into this place of a bit more knowing and a bit more self-understanding, at least so that you have the tools to be able to continue in life, so that such a crisis doesn't occur again. Because to some degree, when I came out of my bout of mental health issues, I lost an identity. So my ego detached itself from wanting to play in the AFL. All of these things were bubbling up from below the surface, and I didn't know what they were. And that was the spark of the mental health issues. And all those sorts of things were arising that I'd never really given time for, because I was so obsessed with an idea that I had in my head from a very young age. And I really believe in role models and heroes, and I believe in having a goal, but it is important to know whether or not that goal is disingenuous or not, and if it is authentic towards who you are as a person. And you're never going to know for sure. You're never going to find a single goal that's like, this is what I was put on the earth to do, but more or less, the more you spend time with yourself and get to know yourself, the more the goals that you write down for yourself become more intrinsically aligned. So it's exactly like what you said before. You don't find a thing and then that's what it is. You scout out, you reach out, you look, and eventually there's this kind of like path that's, far less imbalanced than it once was previously. And, hopefully by old age, you've had a good life of trying lots of things and having your ups and your downs, But essentially that was me, and I came out of it. And then I just attached myself to another goal of wanting to change the world in terms of anxiety, with mental health. And there was so much ego in that, just as there was in terms of wanting to make the AFL. And ego is so important, it's very important, but it was this same thing of, once I've changed the world with anxiety, then I'll be okay. Very similar to, once I make the AFL, then I'll have all the money and the girls, yada, yada, yada. So I moved away from the MindMate completely, and it's just called the podcast now. And then I just kind of sat in this existential slump. And, my partner and I, who I love to bits, we moved to Bali, and, completely, we sold all of our things, and, I just had this new life ready to go. And I couldn't help but feel like, if I wasn't prepared to take the journey on, the only other way I describe it was like a bit of a depression quite feeling, because I just felt really, really lost. And then I started to read more, and writing has become a way for me to reflect and learn. And that's essentially what the book is. It's taking the reader through a journey like that. And my overall message from it, which I learned myself, which was, don't shy away from exactly what you're saying. Don't shy away from the uncomfort. And that can get extremely uncomfortable. Don't shy away from, even to the core, the shit that's biting away at your soul. If you classify yourself as someone that does have depression, and there are many different examples of what depression is to people, so this is a general cue, and I won't say that this is the only way to do it, because, as we all know, different sort of methods work for different people. But if there is something in you that's eating away at you, listen to it, because it could be trying to tell you something. And there is a really interesting kind of conjunction that occurs between the unconscious and the conscious mind, and the way those kind of intertwine with each other. I really believe that the unconscious mind, everything that we're scared of, is actually on your side, and you can listen to it through the interpretation of dreams. You can listen to it by what your emotions are telling you. You can listen to it as you detach yourself from everything that's going on inside you, and write it out as though you're having a conversation with it. And you come out on the other side, and you really start to learn a lot about yourself. So that's essentially what the book was about. But it was that idea, that what you said about before, which was, don't wait for life to give you its answers. you actually have to prove to life what your answers are. And that's something that Viktor Frankl said. He said, people often look to life and go, what is the meaning of life? But you should kind of look at life you should sit down life and be like, hey, this is what the meaning is going to be for me, because you're on this earth for a reason. So you can do that.
Yeah, I like that stream of consciousness there, Tommy. Yeah, I think one of the really important things that you mentioned there is time.
Yep.
As well, and it's actually kind of taking the time and making it a priority for yourself to sit down and review